Welcome to the Greenway with Mac, a channel dedicated to active transportation. Today we are in the Miami area and we are taking a scenic trip to the beach. I looked long and hard to find a safe route for today's ride, which also worked with my overall plan to get from Miami to Delray Beach. What I found was this lovely route across the Venetian Causeway and into Miami Beach. I took the Metro Mover, an automated loop train that dropped me off at the foot of this bridge where I picked up a City Bike Miami rental. There are a ton of City Bike stations on the eastern edge of Miami and all over Miami Beach, so this was a convenient and quick way to grab a bike. There are some great attractions near my starting point, including the Perez Art Museum, the Museum of Science, and it's a short walk to the FTX Arena, where the Miami Heat play. The Hyatt and Hilton hotels are also nearby, just 2 blocks in the other direction. This road is called the Venetian Causeway, and it connects Miami and Miami Beach in the Bay of Biscayne, and this is an on-street portion of the East Coast Greenway. In part 3 of this series, I'll show you the off-street portion of that Greenway in Miami Beach. The toll for cars is $3, but bikes and pedestrians are free. It's scenic and I felt safe, even though the bike lane wasn't protected with anything more than these little armadillos. The Venetian Causeway is a 2.5-mile toll road that connects the 11 man-made Venetian islands. It does this with 12 bridges, 2 of which are bascule bridges or drawbridges. Only 6 of these islands are inhabited, and the first one we reach is Biscayne Island. In the 1930s, this island was home to Viking Airport. The runway was made of sod and also had ramps for seaplanes. But by the 1940s, the airport had been removed and replaced with a residential neighborhood. The Venetian Causeway Park is to the right, with condos and apartments just past it. To the left are mostly houses that are worth in the tens of millions of dollars. Distance looks like a carnival ship was in port today. Disney, Royal Caribbean, Virgin, and Norwegian also dock on that island when in port. The second of the Venetian islands is San Marco Island. As you would imagine, this is also a neighborhood with really expensive homes, most of which were originally built between the 1950s and 70s. The Venetian Causeway is not the first road to connect Miami with Miami Beach. Its predecessor was the Collins Bridge, a 2.5-mile wooden toll bridge built in 1913. At the time, it was the longest wooden bridge in the world. The bridge is named for the man who built it, John S. Collins. Collins was originally a farmer from New Jersey who had the bright idea to grow coconuts and vegetables on the bug-infested, swampy land between Miami and the ocean. While that didn't work out for him, he and his son started a land development firm and are credited with naming the land Miami Beach. Collins actually ran out of money to complete the bridge and gave 200 acres to American entrepreneur Carl Fisher in exchange for a loan to finish construction. Instead of relying on a ferry to access this strip of land, people now had direct, constant access. When the population exploded 400% from 1920 to 1925, the Fisher and Collins families became very wealthy. next island is called the Lido. Generally, this is another hotspot for the wealthy, but one interesting thing here is that you can see the unfinished Isola di Lolando to its north. John Collins imagined filling in Biscayne Bay with many more of these islands, creating a near limitless supply of waterfront property, and he was literally selling them faster than they could be built. But the Depression, a hurricane, and a public souring on the vision of islands filling in the bay, production stopped and Lowland Island was left unfinished. Lowlando has no lando, only pilings like these, stretching from Di Lido to the Julia Tuttle Causeway. The fifth island in the chain is Revo Alto Island. This is where the house from Real World Miami was in 1996. Now it's owned by PayPal billionaire Peter Thiel. Off to the right is an obelisk on an island. This is Flagler Memorial Island, which honors Henry Flagler. While he was one of the founders of Standard Oil, he is also credited with creating the Florida East Coast Railway and the cities of Miami and Palm Beach. The final island is Belle Isle, and is the only one that is not fully man-made. This was the only island that existed when the Collins Bridge opened, and it's likely that the successful sale of real estate on the island led to the creation of the Venetian Islands. To the left is the standard spa, Miami Beach. If you're planning a trip to Miami and want to stay off of Ocean and Collins Avenues and on one of the Venetian Islands, then this modern, stylish place is a good choice. You can support the channel by booking your room with our sponsor, MacMillan Travel Design. JCPenney himself had an estate here called White Haven, and President-elect Hoover stayed here for 4 weeks. Another resident on the island was Al Capone, who was known to throw loud parties, keeping Hoover awake at night. Rumor has it that Hoover retaliated by directing the federal authorities to take down Capone. I had to continue straight here due to the construction, but you want to turn right here if you can. Click the card above to see the second part of this ride, where we take a tour of Miami Beach on city streets. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next great bike route. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you on the next Greenway.